Well, hello, lovely listeners. Welcome, viewers. Today I have another amazing guest. We have Phil from Rapid Response. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard of Rapid Response. Rapid Response is an organized group of individuals of, the good men and women of this land, of this realm, whatever you want to call it. And it's basically helping those that are fraudulently losing their houses and running into problems with bailiffs and police assisting bailiffs and all that sort of thing. And Phil, I was just asking Phil off air when he got involved, and it was 2022, around the time that it started, and I think it started in Derby. And prior to that, you were working for Cheshire University as maintenance, and you said that you got involved with the the Conservative Party. Also, you were, I think, campaigning for Brexit and something to do with UKIP as well. I'm sure you can talk to us about that. And that sort of led you into this whole of the world of common law and the waking up of, oh my God, treason's happened in this country, and lots more besides. So, welcome, Phil. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Thanks a lot, Mel. Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks.
We've been at a couple of similar events, but I haven't had much of an opportunity to properly talk with you up to this point. So I'd love to know, and the viewers would love to know a little bit more about your backstory. And obviously I've skimmed over it there, but in terms of where this passion comes from to do what you do today, were you ever a normie? I always ask this question. And if you were, when was it that you sort of started to wake up and then realize how many bloody dots were being connected and all the rest of it? So just give us a little bit of background of you and sort of how you've got to where you've got to today.
Yeah, so obviously been through, the seeing the credit crunches, things like that. It's affected family and people have lost businesses and stuff. 2017, campaigning to get out of Europe. That's what it was at first. I was out with the boards on the roundabout. Get out of Europe, and then obviously found common law. Realised we weren't actually in Europe, and it was treason anyway. Um,
What do you mean we're
yeah,
not in
so
Europe?
well, we've never been in. So Ted Heath, 73. That was it, it's all nullified. So yeah, we were never in it in the first place. That's where that come from. The Conservative Party in Chester. I went in there and I put the English flag over the counter and I asked them if they remembered what it was, and everyone scarpered into the back. And they ended up phoning the police. Armed response come, classed me as a terrorist, and chased me up the road. And that was like sort of me first, but I got kicked out of high school, Catholic school, for beating up the school bully, things like that. I've never sort of conformed in that way, and I've always looked out for people anyway. And yeah, that was sort of mine. I think I've always been that odd one out and not really, fitted into the society that they've created. Um,
So
yeah, and
you
then
always looked after the underdog by the sounds of it.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. So I've always been like that. It's always been my nature, really. And then obviously when the COVID happened, my daughter was just being born in 2020. So I was researching about the vaccines and things like that anyway. Um, and decided not to go through with it. And then I got stopped going into have the scans and things like that. So we had to have them done privately. So I was sort of learning it as I was coming across it more from my daughter.
So you got, sorry,
And
you got stopped having scans through the NHS because you wouldn't do the jibber jab. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, just yeah, because they weren't letting us in the hospital, and yeah, we weren't being able to have the scans. I remember one lad, he was outside the hospital, they wouldn't let him in, and he actually lost his kid. And he wasn't even in the hospital, and he was just in tears, absolutely traumatized outside the hospital.
Wow.
And this is what we've had to deal with, and this is how disgusting these vile scumbags are. Um, so yeah, I was in Chester at the cathedral. We had some leaflets made with QR codes on, so families could come up, they could just put the phone on it, and they'd get all the information they needed about the vaccine injuries, the COVID shots, everything about COVID-19. And armed response turned up and battered me. My face come up straight away. I haven't even released that video yet, so I've got that all to come. My case, we've got whiteboards going and everything with my case building up, which linked in then to Mikey's case armed response because it was the same armed response officer that battered me in Chester. And then I actually won the Crown Court case against me. The police brought a claim against me, and I got unanimous not guilty. And I got the unanimous not guilty because I was getting the judge to confirm what I was saying. So I was asking him, well, does the officer have to be in full uniform with his hat on? And he was confirming yes. Right. Well, as you can see in the video, he didn't have his hat on. Is that impersonating the police customer? I was getting the judge to confirm it after he'd turned around in the court and said to the jury that bear with him, he doesn't know the law. So we had to put that straight to the jury to show them that I did know what I was talking about and I do know the law. And I was getting the judge to confirm that I knew what I was saying was right. And I ended up winning the case 5 minutes, unanimous not guilty. But the judge didn't do anything with them officers that caused me harm. They let them walk out the court.
So,
So the paperwork carried on.
just before you carry on, um, so you said you got beaten up for having some boards with some QR codes for people to scan and get information about the jibber jab,
Yeah,
and anything else related to that. So how on earth did it get to the police turning up? Was this in lockdown?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. People were going for the vaccinations and that. Yeah, there was still restrictions in
but there's
place.
still restriction. So why, presumably somebody called them, you're making a disturbance. Why were they there and why did it get to the point of beating you up?
Because the staff, because it was the staff that were there, just phoned the police. And then armed response come. And obviously, I'm not going to contract with a criminal organisation. So, and the judge confirmed there was no law that stated I had to, unless they had reasonable suspicion that I was committing any crime and harming anyone, I didn't have to give any information to anyone. So yeah, I got dragged off. That case went on for 18 months. That did. Slandered in the paper. Put me as an anti-vaxxer. Yeah, terrorist, all sorts. I've been in the Mirror, Sun newspaper. Yeah, crazy times. Serving the judges. Yes, we went to the High Court. We served the High Court judge that was authorising the vaccinations for the kids. He got served a 150-page document on all the evidence that we had, also for treason as well. And he legged it out the court. We served other judges. I've been arrested for assaulting a judge for serving him paperwork. It's ridiculous. And he authorised the vaccination, COVID vaccination for a 7-year-old girl. This is Judge Hugman. He retired shortly after he got the paperwork off me. I think a few weeks later. Yeah, we've had all sorts. Yeah, and it's just things we have to do. We've got to stand up for it. If we see something wrong happening, we've got to, it's our duty, isn't it, as men?
Yeah. However, you're few and far between. So what is it that took you from this is all wrong? I know this is a load of crap, this is hurting people and all the rest of it, to literally be willing to put yourself there on the front line, almost with a megaphone in your mouth kind of thing, and then obviously taking the abuse and taking the beatings and I know that's happened several times for you in various different situations. Why? Some people will be listening to this going, Jesus Christ, it's got to be an easier life.
Yeah, there probably is, but it's not for my daughter though, is it? It's not going to be for my daughter. It's going to get worse. So I can say, oh, well, I can just go move to another country, it's happening all over the world, and it's not going to stop. Um, so it's up to us to stop it. And the thing is, this is what people need to understand. We've got the evidence there. This isn't even anything that needs to go to trial. This is the evidence is there. We've got it. These are criminals. These have committed war crimes on us, on their own people. And people need to stand up because there's a fine line. Complicit. Being complicit in it. You only have to turn a blind eye and not do anything about it and you're complicit in it if you're letting it carry on. So we're at the position now with all the evidence we've got. and the notices that we've put out, we're talking 5G as well. All that's been done. They were sent up to Newcastle, all the lads, everyone's, served all the schools, served the councils for the 5G. And these are conditional acceptances that will accept, but you've got to explain it. You've got to have a look at the evidence and then confirm that, this is rubbish, that it's not harming or killing people. No one's answered anything. Silence is acquiescence. Um, they're in treason. They've committed the war crimes. But now it's what we're going to do about it.
Yeah.
And the only thing we can do is everyone get together and starting to remove these councillors because they're the ones that started putting the signs on the buses, getting the bus stations, put on all the bus stops about the COVID, about the pharmacies. It's the councils. They're the ones that are issuing all this pain and suffering to the people on the say of the government. And then they've got the police as the foot soldiers that are keeping everyone in line for the councillors.
I, I, inter-
But
I
yeah,
interrupted you earlier. Sorry. You said that even though within 5 minutes the judge found you not guilty, he still didn't then go on to do anything about charging the police officers. So
no,
what?
we've got perjury in the court.
You got what? Sorry.
It was perjury in the court. He was literally on the stand in the court and he's blatantly lied to everyone in that court, including the judge, the jury, and blatantly said that I attacked him. I launched for him and attacked him. And then I said to the prosecution, right, can we play the video? And they played the video and it was clear as day. He launched for me and attacked me, totally inverted. And it wasn't what happened. And just that alone, that's perjury. Without uh, in breach of his called his oath, Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015, Section 26, abuse of police powers. And nothing was done about it. And they're not even in a write up in the paper to say that I got the unanimous not guilty. So you Google my name and have a look at my name. I just come up as an anti-vaxxer that got arrested for assaulting a police, an emergency worker. It's ridiculous. It's all biased. It's usually policing, isn't it?
And so now you're taking a private prosecution against that particular copper.
Yeah, well, this is the things we submitted the paperwork, but these courts are complicit in these crimes. So why am I going to go to a judge that's, we've put the highest judges of the land on notice to agent, notice to principal. That should be with every judge now that know what's going on. And this is the thing, we can go, we're not in the position we've got no courts that we can go and get this dealt with. This is up to us to deal with it in our own courts. And this is what I keep stressing to people. We're not going to get anywhere using their system, going in and using their courts. How much case law have we got going back hundreds of years? And, people are still going in and it's the same stuff. These cases have been won. So once they've been won, the courts should know about this. Some of these cases shouldn't even be entering the courts. And you've got people like me that've got damning evidence against all the police, the judges, and I can't get my stuff in the court. They won't even let me in the court anyway. There's the police outside the doors when any of our cases are coming to be heard, and I haven't been letting any cases. Every time I've been arrested, they just drop the charges after because they won't have me in front of a court. They know I'll just be questioning the judge, and they know the more I go into court, the better I'm going to get. And the only mistake I made last time was not using the jury to have them committed to prison.
Mm.
But yeah, but yeah, we just got to keep going, keep plodding on.
Okay. So obviously that's your personal case for something that you were doing, standing on the right side of the law. You've got involved in lots of other things, and I know obviously some viewers and listeners will know about house repossessions and obviously stopping that happening. And then there's house takebacks. And what that basically means is somebody's already lost their house, and usually there is some security being planted into that house. More lately, they're putting up ridiculous fencing around these houses to make it even harder for people to go back to the home or to lawfully have a conversation and take back those homes. Um, and I'm aware of some of those. You've been obviously doing a lot more than I have. And as much as there are women involved in rapid response, when it comes down to needing some brute strength, because that's exactly what is needed with the some of these security guards, we're kind of a bit, we can film, um,
Yeah, but
and we
we
need.
haven't, we haven't, no, we haven't got it.
No, we haven't. There's plenty of people that show interest, but in terms of numbers that actually turn up, it's quite a challenge. And I personally saw one that was just horrific in terms of the violence that was happening outside that lady's house. To the point where one guy, I'd actually been speaking to him as we were walking up to the house. Never met him before. You probably remember Phil. He got thrown out of the house. He was on his back for a good
Yeah,
45 minutes before he was moved. Had to wait for an ambulance, and that was at the hands of security guards and, well, so-called security guards. And the police aided and abetted the security guards. They couldn't have given a shit about the people and why the people were there. Um, so what keeps you going? Because like we've seen more and more violence, and they're getting tougher in terms of what they're doing, the establishment and the bailiffs and all that sort of stuff. We know that the police are in cahoots with the bailiffs. They absolutely are. So, from your perspective, and we've both now got a mutual association with another organisation, and I've had some of those guys on already from the World Marshal Authority. From your perspective, what needs to happen next in terms of what you're trying to achieve and what rapid response and other people are trying to achieve for basically a better and more peaceful and fair life?
yeah. Well, it has. It's been the same people that will turn up every time, and that's the situation we're in. We've even got the fee schedule. The police are for private hire. They're not showing the warrant cards. The warrant card puts them in the office of constable. They're only willing to give the collar numbers, which is the identification for the corporation, nothing else.
Hmm.
Um, so they are committing crimes, and this is the thing: they're throwing families out on the streets with fraudulent paperwork. The one in Harlow. So the original video before we got involved, the police were watching the bailiffs cut the door off with a 16-year-old girl in the house. And you go to the order from the court, and in a box on these orders, it says that you can't use force to gain entry to these properties, and especially if there's someone vulnerable. And that's been confirmed off Mikey's case in Chester, with the same arm response as the one who kicked my head in Chester, went round and put a gun in Mikey's face after on the Friday kidnapping me. So with the Judge Hugman case, it was no further action because I'd put my evidence in against the judge with all the COVID evidence, and they just dropped it because they didn't want it in court. And this was another case after the one I've already been to Crown Court and I've already won that case. They knew what was coming, and they dropped it. No further action. But then they come with that same case and kick my door off, kidnap me, put me in Old Court prison for, was it 2 months or 2 weeks? This time, 2 months, wasn't it? 2 months. Um, and then went round to Mikey's on the Monday with armed response, putting guns in his face, trying to remove him out of the property, and then drove the bailiffs into the house and let them take the property. It's everything's there, plain to see. The criminals, but it's what are the men of this country going to do? Now we need to start removing the councils. Now everyone needs to help us and support us by moving them. This has happened in other countries. It's
It
just we don't
does.
see it. People have actually gone and removed the people out of the parliament, egged them, threw tomatoes at them, banged them in jail. It happens. And this is what we need to do in this country. We need to start getting a backbone, finding your balls, and start coming helping the men that are standing up already to fight this country. Because what's going to happen is this country is going to be the biggest shit show anyone's ever seen. And if you think it's bad now, you haven't seen anything by the time it gets to my daughter leaving school. Well, she's not going to school by the time, of that age. Um, you just can't understand what they've got in for us. Yeah. So everyone needs to stand up now and we need to start taking control of this country.
Yeah. What's your thoughts in terms of because obviously, I mean, two-tier Kia and the rest of the Muppets, it seems to me like they're just purposely like doing the most ridiculous things to aggravate, to anger people. And so
Yeah.
there's a couple of things. It's like they want to aggravate a purpose-driven revolution, if you like, of the people.
Yeah,
Um,
they want a civil war. Yeah.
and do you think we'll get to that point?
Well, they're trying to get us into a civil war position. And this is what people don't realize about Tommy Robinson. You know, you can see it. I've just, it's clear as day. It's just trying to cause the conflict. They want the war, but let's not give them what they want. Let's just do it peacefully and calmly and go and remove them with the evidence, with the facts we've got, with the cases that have already been and determined that these are criminals and the war criminals and they've committed war crimes against us and they just need physically removing. We've got people to put in the place. People have been working hard, for the people, and they're not even aware of it, what some people are doing for this country. And I don't think they'll ever get their head around what people are actually doing for this country. Um, and yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah. Um, I was going to ask you something then. It's gone straight out of my head. You mentioned Tommy Robinson. So you think he's a wrong 'un, do you? You think he's there to stir up shit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, I can't see any difference. See, Rapid Response went to help move a family from Telford. We've put it out to his team. I've spoke to people that are in direct contact with him. We've put out an olive branch and we've tried to speak to him. We've tried to, like with the law, he's just walked in. At the end of the day, he's contracted into being in prison now, no matter what anyone says. No one come and dragged him off. He went in,
I know he
he
went
went,
willingly. Yeah.
he went voluntary.
Mm,
And if people don't know the law and are not willing to know the law and know the rights, and then they're not going to get anywhere. But people that don't want to take that offer, we went to Telford and now help them move a family out. The house was being bricked by Muslim gangs in Telford, trying to shut the family up. There's been plenty of opportunity where we could have got involved now, but it's not the case. So all I see is just trying to cause division and trying to cause wars, and then it lines in with what the government want. We know they want a civil war, so then that makes him, you know, ideal position for the government. A puppet, yeah, exactly.
okay.
So yeah, we can see it all. We can see everything, and there's people in the movement that aren't honest and truthful about their past either. Some people are good at knowing the law, but doesn't mean they're a good, good soul, good man or woman. And this is the thing, what's going to come apparent to people. But yeah, we're on the right track. Nothing's gonna send us off that track. We know what we need to do. Um, and yeah, I'm willing to die for my country and I'm willing to die for my daughter and her future.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's whoever's willing to stand up with us and help us with that.
And what about Gary Waterman?
Idiot.
What's what
Yeah.
what started all that shit?
He contacted me and Steve were driving down the road and we got a call off him. And like we were pretty buzzing at the time. We were like, bloody hell, yeah, sound, because we didn't know, anything about him. And then we had first he was saying, "Oh, we need to go. You need to go and cut the 5G towers down and get arrested." And we're like, No, that's just like, what, and get remanded and then, you know what I mean, sent down for arson or whatever. And my point was, there's been people that are in prison now that have been arrested for that already. If you've got a solution and you want an avenue to go down to highlight that, go and use them people, go and appeal the case, and then go down that, and trying to get everyone's information, trying to get everyone's contact details. We don't know anything about you at all, so why are we going to hand any information over? And then we had a podcast. He wouldn't answer any questions. And then straight away after the podcast, he started saying that rapid response was infiltrated. Well, we know that anyway, because the police have brought into court transcripts of what people have said from rapid response between me and Mikey and stuff like that in the Chester group. So we know this. There's no, but let them look what we're doing. Let them have a watch the demise and the evidence we've got on the truth. Um, Crack on. But by the time you finish looking at the evidence we've got, you won't be in your position. You would have left, if you've got anything about you. But yeah, so straight away, and then he's tried to link rapid response, the grassroots movement, that's just people going around helping people, with a corporation called Rapid Response
Hmm.
that was set up after the grassroots movement. It's just ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? He's just an absolute idiot. And uh, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't got the time of day for him. He's been outed for exactly who he is. He's been saying he's a born again Christian. He's not even read any of the texts out of the Bible. Do you know what I mean? Nothing. He didn't even know what Bible he's even read or what was given to him.
I, ju-
It's like, come on.
I just don't understand. Like you mentioned it earlier, like some of the truthers are not genuine. And I just, me personally, and I suppose it's people like us that are just doing things because it's the right thing to do and because that's what's within your heart. You can't go against that, because it goes against who you are. And we're all connected anyway. When you hurt another person, you're hurting yourself, essentially. So it just
Yeah,
it boggles my brain that these truthers are saying what they're saying, but actually either don't mean it or they're going back and being somebody completely different in a different parallel reality. And I just don't understand why Gary Waterman, for those people that don't know who that is, he's the ex-policeman that did a lot of research and time and videos about Company's House and the fraud that's happening within Company's House, which I started to watch and I started to buy into. This was all last year, wasn't it? Um,
yeah.
and like you said, born again Christian and all the rest of it. I don't, is he just being paid to just rubbish people that are trying to do good things? Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it's this whole thing about they are telling us the truth. They are, and but it's for a purpose. Because they want us to start fighting them. They want everyone now to get into a war. This is what they want. So, and a lot of the company stuff, what he's on about, yeah, it's right. But you're going to be chasing your tail forever. You don't even know what the real names are. You can put whatever name, you can open a company, you don't have to put your proper address. It's like a minefield. But what we do know is the crimes the police that are there to protect us are committing. Yeah, we know the crimes that the councillors are committing blatantly, and we know that we've got a lawful right and an obligation to remove them. And the Constitution says so. So, rather than dealing with Company's House, which is just a sideline, yeah, it needs getting rid of. And we know there's fraud and corruption in there, and we know that. But you'd be just chasing your tail till the end of time.
Yeah,
Yeah. So instead of focusing on that, we need to focus on the people that are supposed to be there to protect us, first and foremost, the army and the police. And then the councillors are supposed to be there to do a duty, the public servants, and the killing people. So they need to go. But all of this is easy solved by the men just coming and standing peacefully with the evidence we've got and start removing them. Yeah. And then we've got control. Then what have they got? What have the government got then? If everyone's taking control of their area and having meetings and like starting to, keeping hold of the head trustee, you're not going anywhere. There you go. You're on notice now that if you leave your position, that this city is going to go to shit and it's your responsibility and you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. Now sit at your desk, there you go. Their job's to keep the city moving. But none of this is going to happen until we take them first steps. We can keep chasing our tail and go into these individual cases and helping people all over the country, but it's not getting to the bottom of it, and it's not getting rid of the corruption.
So just to make it clear for people that are listening and also for any potential men that want to get involved, what are those first steps? What are those crystal clear first steps that we need to do to get to a stronger position?
First, getting so we've got 40 odd thousand people on the rapid response. People need to make a decision what they want to do. Either they're sat on the sideline, which will become being complicit in it, or you're going to take that step, and you're going to contact us. We want you to start coming to us now, contacting us, right? I want to get involved. What do we have to do? Then we can start vetting people. We can start setting up another group, and we can start hitting it, direct.
Yeah.
But until people make that step and come to us, and we start building them numbers, there's nothing we can do, unfortunately.
And going back to the World Marshal Authority, which is a new organization to both of us, and their headline, if you like, is the biggest. Oh, I'm going to cock this up now, but the biggest law enforcement on the planet, or something like that. Um, and there's a lot more to them than just law enforcement. But obviously, this is an organisation that is global. We've met a few of these people online, admittedly, and hopefully we're going to meet one or two in person soon. What's your thoughts in terms of, because what it seems like is the World Marshal Authority can give you and your vision and the rapid response and all of us more reach, more stretch, more structure, more organization, more power, more clout. You mentioned, I think it was off air, about it's all very well taking somebody to court, but we know these courts are corrupted anyway. So how much justice are you going to get? And so then at that point, like you said, you need your own courts. So um, in an ideal world, Phil, let's play the ideal world game. How would the WMA, blend in with rapid response and also the other stuff that we're all trying to do, collect, as a community? How would it in your mind play out in terms of a perfect scenario? Because for all intents and purposes, it does look like they've got the clout. But we're yet to see obviously more and more evidence and action, etc. So in a perfect world, how do you see it playing out?
Um, like great idea. But this is what they need to realise: that rapid responses, we've got the people support with what we've been doing. Um, you only have to look at the messages against the police and for rapid response. Um, but the position we're in now is we've got police that aren't bonded or assured to be carrying out any duty in commerce for the people. Um, so people need to step into that position. And the only people that are actually doing it at the moment is rapid response that's there already going out helping these people every day, their own time, their own money, having to find the fuel. But we need to get into a position where we're bonded and we're assured in commerce to keep doing what we're doing, but have the clout where we've got people that can do the notices and we can start following through. We need to sort courts out. There's a lot of things we need to do, but still nothing's come to fruition yet. With what we need, a rapid response. And I think Martin put a message on the other day after a conversation we had the other night, and basically said that rapid response needs your help, and still, nothing coming through. So, we'll give him the chance and see what happens. But he's even said on a call late that, and we've recorded him anyway, that we're in a position where we don't need the training. We just need to be assured and bonded at this position. Well, let's get cracking. Let's get a team of us now assured and bonded. let's get all the correct paperwork and let's start going out because we've got the balls to do it and carry it on and see it through. But we need the tools to do it, and we need the support to do it. Um, it's just it's yeah, and that's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think from what I've been gathering, and in an ideal world, I think there will be our own courts. There will be court buildings that become ours. There will be buildings that become prisons because, with the corruption, obviously, what do you do about it? Where do you take these people? How do you take these people to task for a fair hearing? And then if they are found guilty, then what? Where do they go? So these are all the things, aren't they, that we've had, or you guys have definitely struggled with. And like you said, it's all at your own expense. And one of the biggest challenges, I think, is for those men that are still working because they have to put food on the table and pay the bills and all the rest of it and look after their family. um, they can't always take the time to go to these houses. It's sometimes it's just not doable, um, which is understandable. And but like you said, if we get to a point where you're bonded and assured, and then it becomes you're recompensed for the work that you're doing, then it doesn't matter about that day job, does it? Because then you can spend all your time and energy doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
And it is, it is hard. People have got mortgages and that. And it is, it's all, but it's just going to keep going on, isn't it?
yeah,
And until people, like, I don't know, it's either, I just decided to stop paying everything, give up me business that I was trying to create, and I just done what I needed to do. And it's been a struggle, but I've had to do it because I haven't had time. It's full time job,
mm,
um, 7 days a week. I don't get any time, because my phone doesn't stop. I don't turn my phone off. My phone always keeps going, and I'm still helping people. It could be 12 o'clock at night or whatever. I've been called. I've had young girl, young lad released out of custody, out of police custody, kept one girl kept for over 9 hours, not even a verified criminal complaint off anyone. She was in an abusive relationship, but instead of sitting her down in a room and giving her a cup of tea and finding out what her issues are and what help they could give her, they just locked her up in a cell. You know, creating that, the mind fuck. Sorry, but
no, it's fine.
just it's like it's mental. The system's not there to help people, and this is what people need to realize. You might have a mortgage, you might have a nice car, and you're paying your bills, but it's all been done through fraud, deception, deceit. Um, yeah, it's just mental. But yeah, we understand. Some people aren't built to. Some people need to be in the system. And yeah, it's one of them. But what can we do?
Well, if
We're going to start. We're just going around doing some interviews now, so people will start seeing, like the after of what's happened with people because we haven't had time. We've been just helping people. We haven't had time to go back and interview people that are still in the home. That are still they're not getting any trouble, any difficulties off the court. The police won't entertain going around the house. So this is what we need to do now: is show people that these people are still in the homes. It's only the odd one, like Toby, that they've made an example out of Billy, the Harlow job. So there's not many that have been actually kicked out and have lost their homes. Most people are still in there, and we're always going back to them, helping them, and we went on Linda's garden. We're always there to help them, and they always get the support off us, and paperwork gets dealt with. So this is what people don't see. And I think people need to start seeing this now because it's going to extinguish that fear, and it does look like, everyone's getting their houses taken off them, even
yeah,
though we're doing what we're doing. It's not the case. And this is what we need to do. So that's what we're going to spend a bit of time on now, and just start showing people that, look, they're still in the home. There's nothing they can do. They've tried to take it by fraud and it didn't work. They've tried to use force after that. The force didn't work. So now they've got nothing.
So just on that, the people that are still in their homes, they've already had the first visit and the second visit, yeah, from the bailiffs,
Yeah.
to try and take that property. So then how have they got to a point? Because obviously, like you said, we've all seen the stuff where they, really go for it. How have they got rid of, or you guys have got rid of the bailiffs the second time, and then to this point, to today, they haven't had anybody come back and try and take it again? What's the bit in the middle?
Well, like so Linda's, for instance, so on the original paperwork, like I said, it states on it you can't use force with this warrant to gain access to the property. And then we've got the video evidence of actually of them going there, breaking into the house and dragging her down the stairs. So they're in breach of the order. So then what the solicitors tried to do was then threaten her to say, "Oh, well, you're in breach of the order. We're gonna get the judge now, Judge Coker, to convict you to prison." It's a direct threat of violence. Well, we went back to that order and we've established that, well, you couldn't use force. So who's in breach of it? You're in breach of the order because you used force to gain access to drag her out. Then she's gone back and taken the property back with help from the people, which is right for her to do because it was taken in fraud. So anything that was taken in fraud, that's nullified. So they were in breach of the order. So she was well within her rights to take the property back, and they understand it now. The police won't come near the house again. The judge isn't going to pick that up and have her committed to prison because he knows full well that they're in breach of the order because he's seen the video evidence of them in breach of the order. So they're at stalemate. What are they going to do? Courts aren't going to get involved. The police aren't going to get involved. So it's putting them in that position where they can't do anything. Obviously down south they're working a little bit different. You've seen the Harlow job and Toad's job. Like you said, they put fences round. They're going that little, that step further every time. But it's typical. Now they've got no power because we know that they're not acting within the law. They're all corporations, so now they're using force because that's all they've got.
Hmm.
So now they're using force. It's totally apparent now to people, or should be, that the police aren't there for the people. Now the people have to stand up, and we have to take control of this country again. Otherwise, if we don't take control of it, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah. I think it's, I mean, there's different people in the movement focusing on different things. You got some people that are obviously speaking out a lot about the medical stuff, especially if they're from that sort of profession. You got you guys that are helping people protect their homes and also getting involved with council tax and that sort of thing. Um, and I think, you know, I was sort of a lone wolf until last year when I got into the shit with the council tax and all the rest of it, and that's where I became part of the Sovereign Project, met some amazing people, and then eventually, obviously, met you guys. And there is so much strength and belief and truth in numbers, especially with people that all have a common goal and have good hearts and similar visions. And the people, I know when I asked you this earlier, the people that aren't doing anything, that are still doing the corporate job or the day job or whatever, and they've got the bills to pay and they've got this to pay and all the rest of it, we're all in that situation. But some people just go, well, do you know what? Fuck it. Because if we keep doing this, we keep churning around this hamster wheel, nothing's going to change, and it has to change. So it's like the bell curve, many corporate presentations I've sat in that talks about the bell curve. There's those that are at the very front, right? And that's people like you and other people that have been in the courts fighting the good fight for a long time. And then as a result of that, that creates momentum. And then there's people like me that start to go, well, do you know what? I've had enough as well. And so I'm going to start doing stuff, and then that has, and the whole, that's why this whole Kia council tax stuff, and there's going to be this revolution. Everyone's going to stop paying the council tax in April. I really hope that happens. But will it? Will people really have the balls to do it? I think what I'm trying to get to, I'm sort of talking around it, but like Phil said earlier, you've got to have a pair of balls. You've got to stand up for what's right. We are sovereign, living men and women, and we're not being treated like that. We're being treated like corporations. It's just money after money after money after money. Christ knows how many taxes there are. And then all the fines for parking and ULEZ and everything else, they're just more taxes. And there's taxes on food, there's taxes when you die. It's just ridiculous. And it's time to, like you said, fucking enough's enough and let's take back our country peacefully. We're not talking about pitchforks down the M1, although that does sound appealing some days. Um, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think the point I'm trying to get across to anyone that's watching is it is scary. It was very scary. It's scary for me at times with what I'm doing as well, because there's a lot at risk. But unless we stand up and grow in numbers, if enough of us do that, the system crumbles anyway because they can't cope with it.
No, that's it. Exactly. But yeah, but it's just left to the small few, and they try terrorising us. We've been T-packed on the motorway, people in masks with guns in our face, and thrown into an unmarked van, surrounded by five unmarked cars. It's scary shit, but you know, we're having to deal with it, and we're still fighting them, and then we come back stronger, and we come back with better paperwork and more solid evidence against them, and we're still not getting the numbers, and people can see exactly what's going on. But yeah, it's absolutely mental. We are a commodity, and this is what people need to realize. If like I run someone over in the road and I get taken to court, I'm still taken as that commodity, that corporation, it's getting taken through the court, that's profited off. Where if the jurisdictions were established properly, where if I work for a corporation and then I decide to put something in my product that's then gone and killed people, it's like, right, okay, well, commerce, your corporation, that's a different situation where, you'll be financially punished, you know what I mean? Whatever, then that'll go to the people you've injured. But that director goes into the court as a man under the Constitution because it's his mind that's decided to do that and then who's caused that harm. So then it's not money, gaining money. It's you're literally just taken to a court, jury of your peers, and you're convicted of whatever sentence by the jury of your peers. The sentence you get, the length of the sentence, exactly what happens to you. And that's how it's not working at the moment. They're just taking us through as that commodity because there's profit in the corporations and taking us through as a commodity, as a slave, than the system being correct and you having your different jurisdictions. And that's what's wrong at the moment. No one's getting penalised properly. Rapists are getting off, because you're finding the judges are letting them off because they're wronging themselves. It's just like there's no justice system there. Um, so yeah, it's just everything is just not working as it should be working. It's a perfect system. It's you think of the yin and yang, the two sides of it. You've always got to have good, bad, up, down, there's always an opposite of everything. So, you can have your data system. People want to still be in that. But we need to create something which this is what we're hopefully doing with the Marshals Authority, with the UCC, where we can create our own system there. We can set up our own treasury. And like what I say, if a police officer pulls us in our car when we're going to help someone and you haven't committed a crime, it's like, well, no, I need your number. I need your name. These are the crimes you're in the process of committing here now. You've explained I'm not being detained. I've not been arrested. So what's your ulterior motive? Your bosses have already been notified that any unlawful activity by the constables, then there's your bill. And then we file that. Do exactly what they're doing to them is what they're doing to us. And we start penalising these corporations.
Yeah.
But these things need putting in place, so it's all well and good, these great ideas, but until we start seeing it in action and we
Mm.
can start putting these pieces together and start putting all these people that are doing all this amazing work, do with the vaccines and the council tax, and we all get on the same page. And, until that happens, I can't see anything's going to change other than this, you're not going to recognize this country within 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. There ain't no one person coming to save us. We've all got to do it for ourselves. And
Yeah.
as much as the pantomime, whatever you think of Trump, it all looks like he's doing the right things at the moment. But there's some dodgy stuff there as well, and it's just like, well, that is thousands of miles away anyway. I know things come and impact us as well in this country, but ultimately, and it was something I think was said last night in a sovereign group, you've got to know, you've got to just know within the core of your being that nobody has the right to tell you to do anything, and we are all born equal. And why the hell are we giving all of our power away to some arseholes in a council building that really don't give a crap? All they care about is their pension, their lunch expenses, and having an easy fucking ride. And that might be a massive generalization. And if any council workers are listening or watching, and you're not that kind of person, then I apologize. But that's how it comes across to us. You get public sector workers and you get people that work in the private corporations and everything else. Two different beasts completely. And there's always going to be outliers, but and that's what we need to move away from. It's just know you're sovereign, know that nobody has any power over you. And that's not just about governments and establishments, that's about bloody partners, and if you're being subdued at home or whatever, or subdued by other people or by parents or whatever, anything like that, you don't have to live in bondage. You are as free. I mean, I remember hearing something recently. You are as free to live in bondage as not, because the freedom is your choice. You can choose to live in bondage, or you can choose to not live in bondage. Um,
Yeah.
I'm waffling a little bit
It's
there.
the easy, it's the easiest word ever. Kids learn it. It's one of the first things you learn now,
Mm,
and that's it. That's all it is. It's now.
yeah,
Where can you go wrong? You can't go wrong.
yeah,
And that's as simple as it is. And this is the thing. It's we have been all indoctrinated, and it starts at school. I was the confident little kid in school. I was going to do everything. You know what I mean? It's like, but you come out, you leave school, you're confused. You don't know what you want to do because it's all knocked out of you. All that confidence you had when you start school just gets knocked out of you. Sit down, shut up,
yeah,
speak when you're spoken to. You know
yeah,
what I mean? This is how you think, not teaching them how to think, not what to think. It's like and you can see it, but we still send our kids. We had paedophile teachers that and it's like, why am I going to send my daughter into that? Off what I've witnessed. I'm not that naive and stupid to keep not learning from mistakes. I
yeah,
seen it all when I was growing up. So I'm gonna learn from that, and I don't want my daughter in that situation or feel how I did when I was leaving school, or miss chance. It's not going to happen.
mm,
I want the best for my daughter, and I want to break that cycle of how I was made to feel when I was growing up, and it's not going to happen. So yeah, I don't know that.
okay. Well, Phil, if anyone listening is intrigued to learn more or is chomping at the bit to get involved, is there a place for them to go? What's the easiest thing for them to do?
Um, Yeah, well, people can get on rapid response, but other than that, me email. You can put my email up if anyone wants to contact us direct or whatever.
Okay.
Um, and wants to chat if they want to know how to get into it. We have meetings in Liverpool. Anyone that wants us to get to them and come and see, help and get something sorted in their own area or whatever. But yeah, so me email, you can put that up, can't you? You've got me
Yeah,
email, so
yeah,
just put that up if anyone wants to contact me. But yeah, we need to get a serious plan in order, and we do need the men to start helping us out because we're in the shit. You know, we there's only so much we can take. Mentally and physically. And we can't keep doing it for the rest of our lives. It's not fair. My daughter's seen some horrible stuff. She's only 4 years old, and it's nothing any other than what the police are doing. Now, the police are supposed to be there to protect my daughter, but all my daughter's seen is the police attacking the dad for nothing. And this is how my daughter's going to grow up. She knows. She even turned around to the police lady and said, "You hurt my dad." And the police lady said, "I've just come, it wasn't me." And then my daughter turned to me and went, "Oh, but the police hurt you, didn't they, Daddy?" And I was like, "Yeah, but they'll never hurt me. They could never do anything that's going to hurt me. But
yeah,
she's seeing this stuff. And we only went round just to help Linda, and it ended up I got arrested, and it was a simple, just a simple thing. And we were only down the road, but I had my daughter with me. I'm a dad part time, like, well, full-time dad, but we share responsibilities 50-50. So, and I've still got to think of my daughter, and I've still got to spend time with my daughter, but it's getting relentless. And as the workload goes up, the time that I'm having to, that I need to spend with my daughter is getting a bit, is getting less and less.
yeah,
Where if all the men were standing up and sharing the responsibility, um, it's like that with the teacher in America, with the balloons. So they got the kids to write the names on the balloons and then put them in the hall, and then sent the kids out to find their balloon with their name on. No one could find it. So they got them back in the classroom and then said, "Right, go and pick the first balloon you find. Whoever's name on it is on it, go and give it to that person." So they went and done it, and all the balloons come back. Everyone got the balloon. So instead of thinking about yourself, if people start thinking about other people and helping other people, and then their happiness is going to come from that as well. And that's exactly what I found. And I resonated with that story because that's exactly what's happened. Everything's fallen into place with me because I'm out helping people. I'm doing what I need to be doing. And it's making me a stronger person, more confident. Yeah. And this is exactly what it is. And things will start, you know, yeah, things will start changing. But until we start helping each other and stop thinking about ourselves, and then this will start sorting itself out.
well, I normally finish with any pearls of wisdom or any final words, but I think that was perfect what you just said. So it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you a little bit more over this last
Yeah,
hour.
it's been brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
thank you so much.
thank you, Mel. Yeah, thanks for the offer to come on anyway. It's been great.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely welcome. It's been fantastic, and I know there's going to be a lot of lovely comments as well on this video. You always get one or two trolls, Phil, as you probably know.
Oh no, yes, yeah, yeah.
But
Well, that's it. Yeah, we just pat them off, don't we?
yeah, exactly. But thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and you, Mel. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you soon.